Hi, I'm Alex Mitchell and I'm the creator of Cancer Stories. Cancer Stories is a video diary program which is designed to help people like yourself manage their cancer. And the key aim is to record previous patients' experiences, really a wide variety of cancers. And these are patients who are genuine, real patients from Leicestershire who've given their consent to allow us to record their story onto DVD or the internet. What we ask those patients is really to give a brief account over 30 or 60 minutes. How did they manage with their diagnosis? And hopefully by watching their account you'll be able to pick out some common themes from one or more of those videos. And those common themes might be things like what resources are available locally or nationally, or how do families cope, or how do people themselves manage with those awkward stages, either the initial diagnosis or the complications of treatment, or perhaps psychological and emotional complications which are sometimes overlooked. So overall, we hope that by watching the video diary program you'll be able to take some positives from other people's accounts, and hopefully that will help you better cope with your situation, whatever that is at the current time. Thanks for watching.
My name's Lynn Peacock, I'm 50. I was born in Loughborough in Shelthorpe. I have 3 sisters and 1 brother that are all older than me, and I've got a son 25 and a granddaughter 3. I work in a laundrette. I've been there for about 6 years. I did change my job from working in the chip shop, and I was very healthy. I've never been ill, been very lucky, didn't even get a cold. Yeah, I was invited to go for a routine mammogram in 2012 in October, and I did, and that's when they found cancer and a tumour, so I was greedy. My name's Lynn Peacock, I'm 50. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2012 and chose to have a double mastectomy. Probably think I'm mental. At the time, I wanted it done because I couldn't live with the fact that it was cancer. They tell you that you've got cancer and you just go into modo mood. I mean, I was 50, my son had grown up, just moved out, got a job, lived in Loughborough, worked 5 minutes away from where I were, going out for my tea. Just starting to get my life for me, and then bang. So I thought, right, the word cancer is a scary word. We have lost 9 people. We lost 9 people in 8 years with cancer. The youngest one was 40. So I didn't want to take a chance when they said pre-cancer, the right side. To me, that's enough to say no. If I'm going to lose my hair and I'm going to be ill, let's do it in one go, not let's go 6 months down the line and think to yourself, well, you know, or going to bed every night thinking, is it come back? Every little lump, bump, I couldn't live with that. I do appreciate what the doctor was trying to tell me now, but at the time I just, you know, think about what you're doing. No. I don't want to think anymore. If you don't do it, then I'm not having the left side done. I felt a bit stupid because I didn't feel the tumour that were there. But like, it's the most scariest thing, you know what I mean? I didn't want to go for a test. I don't have tests. I don't. I'm one of these people, well, no. Cancer smears, no. Mammogram, nah, I'm not going for that. But my sister kept moaning at me because she'd had breast cancer And so more or less she dragged me, let's say. She threatened me. You don't come, I'm going to drag you there with your hair. So off I went, like a good little gal. I went in and come out crying because I said she'd hurt me, complaining like a baby. My sister said, you're flat-chested, get on with it. Shut up, you'll be all right, get in the car, let's go home. So we did. Waited for the letter to say, you know, you got all clear. Every morning, got up, oh, good news, it ain't there. Then a big thud on the door and you think, I don't look good. Turned it round and realised it from Glenfield. I thought that's not an all clear letter I'd seen, and so I made my son undo it, and he says you've got another appointment. So off I went, and that was just like, you sit and waiting, don't you? Everything's going through your head. No, there's no wrong. Well, what if there is something wrong? What if I'm going to die? My main concern was, I'm going to die, you know. So we went in, and looking at a computer screen didn't mean anything, and she's going, you've got this, you've got that, you've got the other. I'm laying on a bed and I see a needle on my body. From my feet to my head, I couldn't stop shaking. And I can remember one of the nurses holding my hand and saying to me, you're going to be all right. I thought, you ain't in my shoes, mate. You know, what she's telling me. Am I ever going to be all right? And then she says, I said, I need to go to the toilet. I just wanted to get off that bed. I wanted to run out the hospital, really. But you can't go out in one of them nightgowns, can you? You look a bit silly and it's a bit cold. So my sister says, what's up? And I says, oh, I've got it, everything wrong with me. I can't take it all in. So then the lady said, if you go in that room, somebody will come and talk to you. So you sit there and you think, you know, you've been in there ages, but you ain't, have you? You know, obviously it's not. It feels like you're in there for a lifetime before somebody opens the door. Oh, hello. Smile on her face, thinking, oh, yeah. She's going on and she says, do you know what's wrong with you? I says, well, look on your face. Could be, well, her eyes actually, not so much her face. I said, cancer. She says, that's right. She said, you've got it on the left side, the right side, and you've got this and that and the other. I'm thinking, what? And then she says, on the level 1 to 5, where do you think you are? And I don't know. She says 5. Well, the word that came out of my mouth was disgusting, really. I do apologise to her. It began with F. Oh, and she's no, you just, and I'm thinking, you've just told me all that, and then you're saying no. She says, well, if you'd like to go and get dressed, and we'll get you a cup of tea. And we'd laughed about that, me and my sister. She says, oh, if they give you a cup of tea, that's when you got bad news. So, of course, when she seen the tea coming out from there, then they let my sister come in with me. And all I kept saying to him, for about 10 minutes, she hit me in the end. I'm going to die, ain't I? I'm going to die, ain't I? And she turned around and whack. Shut up, she said, listen to what they're telling me. So that was it. But I was just so angry because one, I hadn't noticed the tumour. 2, I felt okay. I was just getting my life back. I'm 50-year-old, you know. I've always worked, I've always been a single mum. Nah, you ain't going to do this, you know. You couldn't be that cruel. We've just lost my cousin, you know. But hey, one there. But I thought both sides. I mean, I know I've always had I've been flat-chested and not had big boobs, but I didn't want this sort of a boob job, you know. But then you get on with it. You start to, then your life completely changes.
So you had that difficult period in hospital where, you know, they were giving you the diagnosis in quite a brusque way, in a way. What was your predominant emotion at that time?
My honest opinion, utter.
You were angry, were you?
Angry, very angry, because the way they look at you, you know what I mean? Oh, well, it's this, that and the other. To them, it's a job. I do appreciate that, I really do. And probably thinking about it now, I wouldn't have probably been so angry now. But at the time, you've just been told that you've got all this cancer and tumour and this, that and the other. You don't want somebody sitting there saying, oh no, you know, take your time. You've heard the word cancer. Nothing else registers, nothing.
What do you think would help in that situation? Maybe
to make sure that you've got somebody with you when you're told. You know, my sister were outside the room. She could have said to me, do you want somebody to... They did do after, But that particular time, they never said to me, do you want somebody in here?
At the time, to make it clear somebody can attend with you if they're available.
Yeah,
That
I mean, my
sounds
sister
sensible.
wanted to come in with me anyway, and you know, obviously I said no at first, but then when they've told you and they put you in a room, yeah, it's only for a couple of minutes, but to you it's a lifetime. You know, everything's going through your mind. You know what they're going to come through the door and say. You don't want to hear it, but you've got a real good idea.
And the family member can not only act as a source of support, but they're a double check on what's being said.
Yes, because you're not listening. You're not taking. You hear the word cancer, and that's all you've heard.
Yeah.
That's all you'll hear all that time.
Yeah. What were you given at that time then?
Eventually, after she told me that, and she says, get dressed and you go into another room. Another nurse come in. She was lovely, and all I kept saying to her, I'm going to die. She said, no. You know, your prognosis is good. But I weren't hearing that, and I must have repeated myself, because like now, when I'm nervous, I tend to just ramble. My sister hit me and told me to shut up and listen to what they were telling me, and then she was giving me leaflets and booklets, and to me, they were just a piece of paper. I just wanted to get up and run anywhere, you know, but my legs wouldn't carry me.
You wanted to escape from the situation?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and I'm trying to sit. She's talking to me, and I'm trying to sit, thinking, now which way did I come in to get out? I've got to get out of here. And to be honest with you, as soon as that door, she went out that door, I'd followed her and I'd gone.
In an anxious situation, that instinct to run is actually quite natural. That fight or flight feeling that you should, you know, escape from it. Maybe we should actually think about giving people who are under, you know, stress from the point of their diagnosis a bit of a break from it for a while, and call them back maybe at a later time, even later the same day.
I think actually there ain't an easy time to be told it. Well, every time you do say it to that person, each individual is different. But with me, I just wanted to escape. I didn't want to know. I thought if I walked out the door, it was going to stay where it were, because it weren't going to happen to me.
I do agree with you. There's no easy way to do it, because always somebody's going to be upset. But there's ways that the stress, the effect, can be minimised in a way. Now, you mentioned about the leaflets. What's your view about the leaflets then?
They can give you 50 leaflets at that precise moment, and if it's anything like me, you just put them down. I mean, at one time, you could open my car and go under my seat, and you'd find well enough to read a book, really. I don't think, they just sort of give them you, well, this, you know, and write this down. Do you really want to sit there and write that? No. You just forget it, you know.
There's a danger with any intervention. It's just being seen as something simple that will, you know, solve the situation, like a sticking plaster, where, you know, it's the quality of the innovation and also how meaningful it is for that person at that time. In other words, is it matched to you? Is it what you want?
No,
and it doesn't sound like that was what you wanted at that time.
No, I think everybody's different, and I understand that. But at that time, I think it would have been better if they would have said, there's a room where you can go with your sister and talk, which they left us, and then this woman come in. But like, you just need to have that time to sort of register. You're just trying to take that in, and they're bumming leaflets in your hand. And I know it's their job, and I know they haven't got time with everybody to sit down and talk to you. I know that. It's time and it's money, and that's the problem.
Well, on that note, do you think spending time face-to-face with that clinician, or just having your family member there as a source of support, would be the way to go? Yeah,
I think you need them both. Somebody to explain. You need to feel that you've got family or a friend or somebody that you trust, let's say.
Exactly.
Listening to everything they're saying, because you know you're going to come out. Well, I didn't till I got out the door. I hadn't heard a thing.
No. Somebody who you trust and you feel that's on your side.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to... You don't... I mean, people don't want it sugar-coated. You don't get it sugar-coated. But you don't take it in. I mean, my sister has learnt more through being with me, going for appointments, than she did when she was going through it. Because obviously, she said, she was like me, she wasn't listening. So she made sure when she was in the room, because she knew I weren't going to remember to ask questions, she asked the questions.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say to her, I'd get home and I'd say, What did he say? Well, he told you that. Well, what does that mean? And then she'd explain it to me. Oh, all right. You know, fine.
Did you come across any other useful source of support during this time?
No, because I didn't want it. I didn't want to. You have a nurse that you can ring. But personally, you feel like you're a baby because I'd still got a normal life. I was still at work. I was still doing everything I normally did.
I see. So you had your contact for your own clinical nurse specialist?
Yeah.
But you didn't need them right at that time?
No, I don't think. I think because like you don't feel it, so you feel like, well, if I phone them up, I'm going to look an idiot. I suppose it's like actually letting them yourself know, not them, yourself know that you've got cancer and it's there. If you don't talk about it, it's, to me, it was going away.
So that was your strategy, was it?
Yeah. If I didn't tell anybody or ask anybody to help me out.
Yes. I can appreciate that.
I didn't need them.
Did you try not to think about it yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I was going to work, I was lifting bags, kit bags, because I work in a laundry, so football teams were coming in. And nobody had an idea.
Yeah. So you were keeping it from others, but you were trying not to think about it yourself. So you weren't dwelling on it in a way.
I spoke about it. Well, when I said I weren't thinking it, I didn't think about it. But if somebody say, "Oh, Jill told me you're not very well," yeah, I've got cancer, and I'd just say, "They'd say what? Yeah, I got both sides and under the arm. So what?" And carried on.
You'd keep it simple with them.
I'd tell him. It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
But it weren't. It's hard to explain. It was there, but it wasn't there.
And did that strategy, which by the way they sometimes call a minimisation strategy, or in everyday language denial they call it sometimes, was that working for you? And I would define that as, were you managing to cope with the whole situation better using that strategy?
When everybody were around, when I were at home, not when I were on my own, not when I went to bed. I mean, sleep pattern just went straight out the window. And then you get up at night and you start, what's the word? You start worrying whether you're going to wake up.
Yeah.
And then you think to yourself, probably your sister's got through it. I've got a cousin that's had it.
Yeah.
But it seems every one of us that have had it, it's got worse.
I'm sure that was on your mind a lot when you're thinking about your own
scared.
situation.
Yeah, you are scared. And
often when you're scared, it's those thoughts at night as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you like being like a little baby, but you do worry because you think, well, my sister had just a bit took away, my cousin had one took away, now I'm going for two because that's what they told me, it was cancer.
Yeah.
Both, and I thought, oh no, not that I've ever been vain. I'm not one to follow the trends, follow the fashion, as long as I'm comfortable. I mean, the biggest joke where your hair, most people would go crazy when they lost their hair. To me, it was godsend because I don't like doing my hair anyway. My sisters just laughed because they said, at least you won't have to do your hair. And my strategy to that was, I've saved on a fortune on shampoo, hair dyes and hairspray, and that were a real godsend. But until it happens, and that's another thing that I can't believe, I took it to heart by my hair. Well, I say took it to heart. I cried once. I never thought I'd cry over losing my hair.
So even though you're saying it didn't affect you so much, in one way it did affect you.
Yeah. It sort of, like, I'm the sort of person, I'd get up in the morning, I'd go down, I'd get dressed, I'd comb my hair, but that'd be it, I'd be out. Now my sisters are all makeup, hair done, blow dry your hair, everything's got to be in place, not me. I was more the tomboy one, I suppose. And so when my hair did fall out, I mean, I can remember that day. I was in Tesco's and I'd got a navy coat on, and it was near Christmas, and I went in to Tesco's to pick something up, and it was the things I needed actually was on the top shelf, So I'd been lifting my arm up to get them, you know you do, oh I'll have one of them, I'll have one of them. And this woman turned around and said, it's going to be F again, disgusting. People like her want locking up. So being nosy, I turned round, I thought, who's she on about? And as I turned round, all my hair was on my coat. I must have brushed it and it had just fell. So I'd got the biggest pile of, and I just couldn't breathe. I just had this panic attack, scared. So I picked my basket up, turned round, walked out, put it on the checkout and run out of Tesco's crying like a baby. And my son said, what's the matter with you? And I went, look. And then he went, oh. And I said, oh, and I went like that, and my hair just come out with it. I said, just get me up, I need to get home. And that done it. And I thought, you know, this is reality now.
I mean, I guess your hair is such an integral part of your appearance, isn't it? We take a lot of pride in it, you know, the length, the colour.
Not me, not if you know me, no. Like I say, that was one thing that really did surprise me.
Yeah.
My hair, losing my hair.
How much it did affect you on that occasion. But the point is that you affected in a social situation when you were out, when other people could see.
Yeah.
How were you indoors over the same issue?
Well, when I got home after going to the supermarket, I actually done the most stupidest thing, and I went like that. So I got a bald patch. And to this day, I don't know why I done it. I just walked straight out. I got my coat, walked straight out the house. It's a 5 minutes walk from where I live to where I work. And I walked into where I worked and I said to my sister and my boss, just look at the state of my bloody hair. And they both, none of them said no, they just went. And I said, what? And they said, you do know you've got a great big bald patch on the front of your head, don't you? I said, oh my. I said, oh well. And I laughed about it, and then I thought, when I looked in the mirror, I thought, this looks stupid. You got two choices, ain't you? Get rid of it all. You can't do this.
So what did you do?
My niece is an hairdresser. I rang her up and I explained my hair had started to come out. So she says, well, I know what you're going to ask me, but I'm not going to do it till you've got a wig. I said, I cannot afford to pay £75 for a wig. Or I refuse to pay £75 for a wig, let's get it right. So anyway, that particular night my cousin come and I was talking to her and we were talking and I was saying that. She says, oh, your hair's coming out. I said, yeah. So she paid, she gave me the money for the wig. She says, you're having one, go and get yourself one. It took 2 days on the internet for this wig to come. And my sister rang up, she says, your wig's here. I went up and had a look at it. I says, oh yeah, I've been every colour. This was like a red, so yeah, that'd be fine. So the next day I got up and I thought, I've got a choice. And I went and walked in the hairdresser and says, Nicola, can you just shave my hair off? And she said, no, off. I says, well, if you don't, I says, I will do it and I will make a mess of it. So she says, why? And I just went, that's why. And she stopped and she cried. She said, all the hair I've shaved, you know, off, it's just not fair. I says, well, you got to do it because I'm not going like this. And she shaved it to no blade. And we're having a wig on, it irritated. So my cousin's bald. He's bald, he shaves his head, he don't let his hair grow. So I went to his house, knocked at the door. My auntie opened it. She says, what's up? I says, you're Micking? She says, yeah, why? I just said, Mick, shave me hair. He says, why? I said, I'm getting sparks. What do you mean sparks? I says, because it's like prickly and it's rubbing on my wig. It's making me itch. So he says, sit in the chair. So I used to go and he used to shave me hair. And my auntie would be panicking at the back, don't cut her head. You watch for that razor. But that had gone.
So not only did you shave it to a zero level, but you also shaved your head, which actually reduced the irritation, if you like.
Yeah, because when you go to bed, if it's like prickly hair, it can irritate you.
Yeah.
But your head does get cold. I advise anybody that's going to have the red shave, please go out, because you freeze.
Yeah. Now, how did you feel then about going out? Did you start to use the wig then?
I used a wig, and then I also got bought a scarf at Christmas. Don't get me wrong, the wigs look really good, But they're I find it very irritating. So I put a scarf on. And I just thought, well, I used to alternative.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, the wigs are all right, but they can be they make your head sweat. And
yes, they can be too hot or
irritating.
sweaty sometimes, just as it's too cold without.
Yeah, you freeze.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't believe how cold your head gets. And then I laughed because my mum used to say, why do you put an hat on a baby? Because the head gets cold, the body heat goes out. So that was another thing that come into my mind, keep an hat. So I look lovely, pyjamas, dressing gown and a nice woolly hat tied for bed. Because a lot of the hats that you do buy for cancer, you know, like the silky ones, they don't stay on your head.
Yes.
You know, so I found it easier to have one of them that tie underneath. I like a piece of toast in the morning, but yeah, at least it didn't shoot off, because every other one I had just used to wake up in the night thinking, I'm so cold. And if you touched me, you'd think I were dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You do lose a lot of heat from there, that's for sure. People underestimate it. Let's go back to talk quickly about your treatments and what you received in the hospital and how successful you think they were. So you were facing that breast cancer, you'd had the news, and then what did you actually receive as your main treatment?
I received 6 lots of chemotherapy. Every 3rd week I'd go for that to shrink the tumour, because they weren't quite sure whether it were attached somewhere, because it wasn't actually, it had moved but not completely moved. He probably did tell me what that were, like another thing I didn't listen. And then it really shrank dramatically. I was really lucky. And then he took me for my operation in April of 2013, and then I had that done, and then in July 2013 I had radiotherapy. Chemotherapy, I was lucky. I was lucky because, like, I have seen my mum had chemotherapy, families had chemotherapy. I was very lucky. But I did go on a trial drug, and they were very good. I did have days where I was tired, which I expected. I did have a couple of days where I felt sick. I wasn't actually sick. But there again, I was just determined it weren't going to beat me at this stage. You want to fight, you've got to fight.
So you managed to get through the chemotherapy okay?
Yeah.
And relatively modest side effects?
Yes,
of the chemotherapy?
Yeah, I will look at just tiredness. I think that's what does you. You're just tired. And you definitely can't remember anything. That's the scary part and all.
Do you believe in this concept? They call it now chemo brain. It means that you're getting memory and concentration problems from the chemotherapy.
Yeah, that is the scary part, because people will say, oh, you've got chemo brain. And you just basically laugh till it happens to you, and it isn't funny. You know, I've gone to the local shop and stood there thinking, what did I come for? I've actually gone home, or I had to go outside and ring my son and say, what did I come shop for? Milk? Oh yeah. So I've gone back in. Oh, you know.
Did you ever get lost in an unfamiliar place or familiar place?
No, it was just like, if I know I wanted milk, and I'd probably think, oh, I'll go and fetch milk, but then I'd do other jobs. So the time I did go out to get, I knew I'd gone out to get something, but what it was, I don't know.
And did that problem, that memory problem, resolve or get better with time?
It gets better. You still, I mean, still things now that I think I should have done, or I'm not up to date by doing that. That's a bit scary.
Yeah.
You know, my son will say, you paid this bill, and I think, oh, no. I will do it, but you know, it's not as bad as it used to be.
And what about the fatigue side then? That was the other thing you mentioned.
Yeah, I still get sometimes very tired, sometimes now.
Often tired in the daytime?
Yeah, because I don't sleep at night. My sleep pattern's totally reversed.
Ah, that's the problem then. So that will make fatigue much worse.
Yeah, I can't sleep at night.
Now, is that because what you said to me earlier was that you did have some times when you were anxious at night, worrying?
Yeah.
Do you think that's driving the poor sleep at night or something else?
I think it's a combination of everything, because you do start to think, well, it's no good. In the end, I just thought, I've got to get on with this. the biggest fight of your life and you're putting everything into it.
Yeah.
You've got to put everything into it. And it was just the chemo doctor really that saved my life, I think, with that. He says, you've got to fight it. I can do my job, but you've got to be on your job. You've got to fight it.
He gave you a certain encouragement to do your best.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And did that rub off on you?
Yeah. It was the first time I'd actually heard anything. And he said it in a bluntly, but in such a nice way, if there is such a way to tell you. You know,
what did you...
I know what sort of person you are.
Yeah.
You've had a scan, don't want to know, and then it's good. You don't want to know the result, no. And then 5 minutes later, well, were it good? I knew what sort of person you are. Now I know what I'm dealing with, and then he just changed. He said, you've got to come out fighting. You've got to lose the negativity and think positive.
And were you able to do that?
Yeah, I think it was the first time it actually sunk in, because it had been going on since October. This was in December, and he says, I'm going to give you the best chance I can.
Yeah. So he was working with you. You know, you knew how to kind of ally, professionally speaking.
Yeah.
So what was your attitude that changed then at that point?
I think his positivity and the fact that for the first time you're realising what somebody's saying to you, and he took time to sort of explain something, and he made it light-hearted. Not light-hearted, but I know what sort of person you are. You want to know certain things, you don't want to know everything. Yeah, that is me. And the fact that you just think, well, I've got my granddaughter, and I want to see her go to school.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I want to see, you know, eventually grow up. I'd like to see her get married. Let's hope I'm here to see that.
Mm.
And I just think, you know, I'm so lucky to have such a good family.
Definitely.
You know, I know you take it out, people like me and my son, we argue, but I think it's because he's there and he gets worried, because we have had so many people, lost so many people with cancer. I think that's another downfall as well.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
You were telling Heather earlier about your family history.
Yeah.
Who has had cancer in the family and how has it affected them?
My sister's had breast cancer and she's got over it. My cousin's had breast cancer and got over it. But then we lost 9 people in 8 years with cancer, different forms of cancer. Mm. Obviously, you know, my mum had fought leukemia for 17 years. So cancer, you know, it's the word, isn't it?
Mm.
Let's be about right. They can tell you you've got anything.
Mm.
I think even if they said you've got to have your arm chopped off, they tell you you've got cancer. Phew, that's one word you don't want to hear. You just don't want to hear that word.
It's the most scared condition.
Yeah. If you could change the name, it'd probably be all right, but you're not going to. So, you know, but like when you think to yourself, you've got to. Something just comes on your head, and you think, yeah, I've got to think positive about this. Mm. And like I say, everybody in my family. I mean, like I've got 3 sisters and a brother, and I'm the youngest. I mean, my brother's 70, and as I was poorly, he was really ill as well. And he kept phoning me up, are you all right, our kid? Don't call me our kid. Anything but our kid. I'm fine. My sister-in-law would say, you know, and then I'd ring him up, is our kid all right? My sister-in-law would go, yeah, he's fine. How are you? But I'm more interested in somebody else.
I was going to ask you actually whether you'd had the chance to meet any other patients who'd gone through the system at the same time as you.
Yes, I did.
And how did you find that experience?
Very eye-opening. I was there with a nice lady. I'm sure it was Debbie. And she texts, and she was a lot younger than me. She got little children. Mm. And she'd done an article in a magazine, and she's been on telly. And I was feeling sorry for myself the first time I went for chemo. Hands up, I'd been there since 8 o'clock. Mm. And we just happened to sit next to each other. And obviously you get talking, and then next time we were sitting next to each other, so more of the story comes out, doesn't it? And when I heard her story, mine was just totally nothing. I thought, you big baby. She's got 3 children. You know what I mean? Yeah, I found every time I sort of had chemo, I was a bit lucky. I'd sit with Debbie and she told me her story, and you start to think, you know, you're lucky. Hey, I'm dead lucky. She's got little kids. At least I've watched my son grow up, and I've been lucky enough to see my granddaughter. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, there's often people in a worse situation, isn't there?
Oh yeah. You don't think so, but just go in that place.
And how does it affect you personally? Does it make you more worried about your own condition, or do you think, no, I should think that I'm kind of in a fortunate situation?
Yeah,
now?
I found I was in a fortunate situation, and the positivity you get from people, I've always noticed that by going to the Osborne building at Leicester Royal. I watched that building being built.
Yeah.
And what always got me were people's positivity.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's the word. The positivity of the patients. I never thought I was going to be a patient, but it's always been the same.
So when you're facing that situation, to still have a positive outlook, even if it's hard. But do you think that really makes a difference for the quality of life that you have at that time?
Yeah, I think you go through not being positive. You go through feeling sorry for yourself, let's face it. You just want to sit in a corner and cry. You just want everybody to go away. You want the world to disappear. You wanted everything that you want to not happen is happened to you, and you start being horrible. Well, why me? In your own head, I've never said that to anybody else. In my own mind, I thought, well, why have I got it? I've had a crap year, and then you go and give me this and all.
Yeah.
But then I went and I sat near Debbie and we were talking, and when I seen her on the telly and in the magazines, it was nice to think that you've helped, you know, or you've not helped, but you've been part of somebody's life and you've watched them grow with it, not grow up, you know. And like, you think, oh yeah, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Definitely.
And yeah, you've got to go through the stages, I suppose, of feeling sorry for yourself. But there's one big thing. If you ain't got family, you know, to me, I would be lost without them.
I agree, having a supportive family is really key.
Yeah.
If you don't have them, for people who don't, then that's where they can involve close friends or other acquaintances.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a brilliant family network, not just brothers and sisters, aunties, cousins. I mean, I've got 3 cousins, one lives quite near, but every night I'd have one of them come to my house.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, because like I live on my own with my son, then we always made sure one of them were there. So I'm never on my own at night to sit and dwell. There would always be one there. My sister would come, and in the day my sisters would be there. My brother were on the phone. Like I say, I'm the baby.
Providing you have those links, that is a brilliant tip.
Yeah.
For in those early stages, particularly after you soon come out of hospital and you're worrying a lot, to have somebody close by, then
friends
that's
and all are
quite useful.
Yeah, friends, even if I've got a friend that lives in Melton, but I knew, like sometimes family's really good, you need your family, but sometimes you just need somebody outside the family. And I just used to, if I were ever down, I'd pick up the phone and ring my mate in Melton, or my boss, because she was my friend as well. And I'd pick up the phone, or she'd pick up the phone in the day, she'd say, what are you doing? And I'm sitting down. Oh, feeling sorry for yourself. Get your backside up here and make me a cup of tea. So that were good. So she used to phone me, and I used to think, so you're sitting there being miserable? Oh, yeah. You've been crying? Yeah. Get your backside up here. There's a kettle that needs filling and putting on. So that were good. And if I were down and there was nobody there at night, I'd pick my phone up to my friend in Melton, and she'd say, or she'd ring me, what's up, you fell out with me? No, I'm just don't. Oh, right. And then the change, they'd know the voice change in me. So rather a moan because I hadn't been to see him, or a moan because I hadn't picked the phone up. So yeah.
They'd know you well enough to know how to respond.
Yeah, yeah. And I wouldn't have been anywhere without them. Like I say, family is just really important. You've got to have the family network.
Where do you see as the future for yourself now? What do you see in the future?
Well, hopefully I'm going to see my granddaughter get married. That would be really nice. But if I don't make it that far, I've gave it my best shot. And like you say, they've done everything for me. So, you know, you just got to be positive, ain't you? You've got to think of the next chapter in your life. Yeah, you're never going to be the same physically, but you've just got to work through it mentally.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, the physical side is a bit outputting and all. You don't expect what you see, but you can grow with that, can't you?
Definitely.
You know what I mean? You can get over that one, you know, like I say. Who knows? Who knows what's around the corner? Go back to work, get some money back.
Why not?
I want a new car. I had to sell mine, so I want a new car.
It gives you something to aim for. That's what we advise. Have a role, have something to aim for in the future.
Yeah, like I say, the most important thing to me was seeing my granddaughter go to school.
Yeah.
Well, play school with the first, and I've seen that. So now it's school, and then it's like, you know.
You can take the next target. And
yeah,
the
I've got
next
a photo thing I've got to fill of her. You know, first day at play school, first day at school.
That's brilliant.
Right the way through to graduation. So that's going to, hopefully I'm going to fill that.
I hope so.
I do.
Listen, it's been great talking to you today. Really appreciate you coming in and sharing your story with myself and the viewers. And I wish you all the best for the future. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you.
Thank you.
Take care. Look after yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you.